conclave, where important stakeholders from various smart cities and other important government departments, along with representatives from the industry, will engage in a knowledge sharing sessions. During this current pandemic, we have witnessed many smart cities using the best of technology, like converting the integrated command and control center into COVID war rooms from where everything was being monitored. Use of drones, apps, AI, and IoT, etc. And the civic heads and smart cities CEOs have played an important role during this pandemic in ensuring the safety of the citizens of each city across the country. During this 2 day conclave, we will see some great discussions from the relevant authorities on building smart cities of future, use of technology for tackling the pandemic, transformation of cities from smart to responsive, safe and secure cities, and an integrated ecosystem. I would also like to thank our main partners, SAP, Tricos Consulting, and VideoWall, for supporting us, without whom creating such platforms would not have been possible. Once again, thank you everyone for being a part of this, and we look forward to some interesting deliberations during this 2 days. So I think so. We have Vikram Segal sir, who is a moderator and has been our guiding light for it's like over like since 2 3 years. He has been like he's acted like a mentor to us. Then we have got Dr. Chinmay Hegde from Astricos. We have got Mr. Musharraf Faruqi sir. So then we have got Sujit, and then we have got Raj Cherubal sir. So I welcome everyone. And Vikram sir, I think so. You can take over from here.
So I think everybody has joined.
Yes.
Everybody has joined.
Yes, sir. Musharraf here, Collector Nirmal from Telangana.
Welcome to you also on board. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, whoever are part of this seminar today. In fact, I'm finding it quite different from the earlier times. And thanks, Mr. Fahim, for your very kind words. It has been a wonderful association with all of you for the last almost more than 2 years. It was a great experience participating in live seminars, but now the need of the hour is that we have to maintain the social distancing and we have to make it a part of our life. And in these last 3 to 4 months, the entire global scenario has undergone a great change. And the best part is that the preparations for the smart cities, which had taken long back, has now come handy in fighting this international pandemic. So, as they say that extraordinary situations require extraordinary measures. So, it's a matter of great pride for us that our country has really come up very well and stood very firmly holding its ground. And, we have been able to set an example for the whole world fighting this pandemic vis-a-vis other countries which have been far more developed than us, far more advanced than us. So I think it has been the zeal and determination and sensitivity of every Indian citizen and our great leaders and our government which has really helped us to fight this. And I'm sure we'll continue to fight this pandemic with the same determination and defeat it in times to come. Now, today we are all here once again to discuss the building of smart cities of future, information, communication, and technologies driving effectiveness and efficiency. For that, we have a very esteemed panel of speakers today, and I have in my panel Dr. Chinmay Hegde, the CEO and mentor, Estricos Consulting Private Limited. I welcome him. I also would like to welcome Mr. Sujit Patheja, Director Smart Cities and Urban Governance SAP, Mr. Gaurang Rathi, Municipal Commissioner, Varanasi Municipal Corporation, and Musharraf Ali Faruqi Saab, District Collector, Nirmal District Government of Telangana, Mr. Aditya Singh, Chief Executive Officer, Bhopal Smart City Development Corporation, Mr. Raj Cherubal, Chief Executive Officer, Chennai Smart City, Hari Kumarji, Chief Executive Officer, Imphal Smart City. So let me also tell the officials from Varanasi and Imphal that I have been IG for CRPF in Manipur and Nagaland for 3 years, and would love to have the official from Imphal. And I have also been in Varanasi for 4 years, and Varanasi has undergone a tremendous transformation in the last 5 to 6 years, or in fact, ever since I left that place. So, congratulations to all of you, because Imphal is also very vehemently fighting the COVID menace. So, with this, welcome to all of you, and hoping that everybody has heard me and joined me. I would now like to invite Dr. Chinmay Hegde, the panelist who is the most technical of us, to begin today's session. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikram Sehgal sir, for inviting me to take up the opportunity on the stage to present something related to the chosen topic of today, that is information communication technology, how it can improve the efficiency and effectiveness of smart cities. So, let me start with first giving great applause to all our government machineries who have done exceptionally well in this pandemic time of India is not easy. It's about 130 crore people, and you people have in fact done it so well that we are all safe. Yeah, thank you for that, and it's a great applause from my side. Right. So, and a lot of COVID warriors and people have worked on the ground, grassroots level, to do the great job from top to bottom of India entirely, the north to south of India. It's a great job, in fact. Thanks a lot. So let me take everybody through the slide deck or the presentation that I want to share across today. I think I need to share the screen, right? So just give me a moment. I'm sharing the screen. Hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Not yet.
Yeah, I think it is loaded. For today, my topic is significant standards in using urban analytics and KPIs in smart cities. Of course, everybody knows that every infrastructure has to be driven by key performance indicators, and how can analytics power that very well and help the urban administrators to maintain the respective performance or measure the performance of the city or the infrastructure that is implemented. So moving on to the, just to introduce you about Astricos Consulting, we are right now in the implementation phase of some of the smart cities in India, and we are helping out a lot of cities, as many as 4 cities to be precise in India. Or also we have implemented some of the urban infrastructure and city infrastructure overseas too. So just a brief introduction of it, because I have time constraint. I am just moving a little bit faster so that we'll meet the time limits. Just the quick agenda of today's presentation is, one is about smart cities and how are the global standard framework has been laid out for smart cities for the measuring of the respective KPIs such as livability index and all other contributing parameters. Of course, there have been some white spaces or the lesson learned. That's something of the sort of I have categorized it as important ignorance. So measurement of performance. Of course, we have laid out any or implemented any kind of infrastructure. It's very important to measure the performance. And how do we measure the performance? And this is quite important because some investment has been done, and we need to keep track of that investment and what we are earning out of it in return. Right? So urban analytics, how urban analytics can help the smart cities ongoing basis. It may be learning from the history or some kind of maybe a little bit of prediction into the future or the insights into the current systems, all such kind of things. Some use cases related to that. I'll explain this acronym when we arrive there. HDICCPP, right? And how Astricos is catering to the to address the need of the respective analytics. We have two platforms, one into urban analytics purely for the collaborative and correlative analytics, and another one is into crisis response and mitigation system, which, like the way all of you must be knowing already, that's a COVID war room kind of a soft system, right? So importance of putting the cognitive intelligence into action. Of course, there may be a lot of dashboards, lot of information. Of course, it should not turn out to be the information overload. It has to be put into action so that we get full out of it. And some features, screens, and case studies, and then I'll jump to the conclusion. The global standards, there are three important standards as per the International Standard Organization. All of you must be already aware of this. Is World Council on City Data categorizes various different classifications and levels of the smart cities and their readiness, and then the livability perspective or the sustainability perspective, because all investments done in smart cities need to be sustainable, and sustainability is the key factor in case of smart cities. So these are just three of them. There are many others. So one is indicator for smart cities and indicators for quality of life in the cities, as well as emergency management and resilience, security and resilience. All of us know this particular screen, whomever are there in the smart city space for years. That's the famous guideline of the smart city livability standard, where it is a weighted KPIs, measurement, where weightage is for the institutional, social, economical, and physical. So where the institutional is 25% and the social is 25%, economic index is 5%. However, the physical index, which is the basic necessity for any city or any urban area, maybe even rural areas also, is of 45% weightage, which is very high. Of course, are we addressing that? That is the quite important aspect. Are we addressing that is the thing, but may not be necessarily we would have earlier forecasted, but we have learned a good lesson, right? So such as one of the studies say that health infrastructure is just 1% of Indian smart city projects. Maybe right now everybody has taken it quite important, and however, this is one of the core pillars of the KPIs for the smart cities or the
Chinmay, sorry to disturb you, Chinmay. Chinmay, you need to move your slides. Your slides are not moving.
Is it moving now? Has it moved now?
Yeah, it's moving now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So how do we measure the performance? There is a famous balanced scorecard approach, which gives all the various different perspectives. Typically, the top part of the screen says that is typical business balanced scorecard framework. However, when it comes to the public infrastructure like smart cities, there are other perspectives, such as citizens' perspective, internal process related perspective, that how the government machineries or the line departments are coming together and collaboratively delivering it. Similarly, the learning and growth perspective and the financial perspective. So all these things need to be maintained by means of regular analytics. When I talk about analytics and intelligence, it is a machine-based analytics and intelligence, which is most faster compared to the humanly or the human intervention way of doing the things. So what do we do this? This is what I was saying, the acronym initially. It's highly recommended to follow the chart of for each of the smart city KPIs. That is like knowing the hindsight, what has been happening and what is currently happening, the insight of that, and the foresight, which is nothing but predictive, some kind of predictive with some kind of accuracy. May not be machine may give you 100% accuracy, but it will definitely make the operations faster or help to improve the operational efficiency. So, and then prescriptive. analytics. Prescriptive analytics is nothing but giving some advisories to the urban administrators or the operators, so that okay, where are the things that could be not addressed, and how to address this for the future's perspective. But how do we do all these things? This is a big question, right? So there are all these things are theoretically sounding very good, but how do we do this practically? Of course, now I'm coming to Astricos, how we are catering to do that. We have a flagship platform that's a smart interop and analytical platform, which is helping some of the cities already, and some of the cities under implementation, where the SIAP, we call it SIAP platform, has a flavor by name Cognos, which is in fact for the infrastructural analytics, which even includes urban analytics and the utility infra. And C2RMS is the one which not just only monitors or manages the operational side of the healthcare infra administration, such as health assessment platform or the pandemic management, but also it can address to various different crises. How does it happen? The smart city is a quite heterogeneous infrastructure. So all these infrastructure, through the infrastructural components such as water, power, mobility, and various such kind of entities, right? So they even solid waste management systems, or the traffic management systems and everything, they generate a lot of data. So data needs to be really keenly looked into, and then it should put through the machine learning or artificial intelligence related technologies, and this needs to be integrated very closely with your city's integrated command and control center platform.
Chinmay, sorry,
Yes.
can you put it in presentation mode?
Okay. Is it okay now?
No, you can you can make it full screen.
I have to share it again.
Yeah, no. Just there's a presentation mode. You just need to click control, it's like F5 for the presentation thing.
I have done that, but it is not happening. Just a moment.
Okay, then you can carry on then.
Yeah. Hope this is fine now. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfectly fine. So some of the very well-known use cases where important is correlative and predictive as well as collaborative analytics, because in smart cities, success lies in collaboration across the line departments, and how all the departments are coming together, like the way it has happened in this particular pandemic scenario, where with breaking the various different departmental barriers, all departments have hand in hand worked towards the excellence of the operation, right? So the same way, and being the technological specialist in the country, it is our duty to help you out how to put the analytics or technology into action. That's quite important. It's not just only I just show you some dashboards or something of that sort, but I need to help you out to do the action. So just showing you some of the screens of these, how the KPIs are measured. One is about having a respective digital twin and the respective heat maps, like the way it happens, and some of the respective KPIs such as institutional, social, and physical and economical things, how it could happen. This is the way it happens, because smart cities case, and similar to smart cities, all other industries also have their own respective KPIs, because KPI based monitoring is the one which will give any urban administrator on day-to-day basis how it could how the their respective city or the infrastructure is performing, right? So this is a simple feature which I'm showing you on, is a kind of a digital twin, and the screen is interactive. This is the video which is playing on that, right? So moving on to the next thing is, this is some of the cases I'm showing you, that how it could help you, like a crime before installing a CCTV, which is an estimation, and what is the real result, which is later on. Similarly, the pollution versus intelligent transport management system or the traffic management system. Similarly, power versus pollution, because this is quite important that compare multiple infrastructures and come to a kind of a conclusion. And that's that is only going to help the urban administrator to achieve the sustainable goals. Some of the advisory alarms, these advisory alarms are followed by the action workflows, such as, okay, you see the advisory on the screen and then you want to act on it. So when you want to act on it, you just need to click a button of it and it will take you through the workflow system, so that maybe it is a single department or multiple different line departments, like the way how a smart city workflow system should work. So this is one of the platforms that we have implemented in a couple of smart cities in India right now already. So what you are seeing is one of them is on the screen, which is the Belagavi district, where we are currently helping them to monitor both geospatial basis as well as on the KPIs basis, and similarly some of the action things coming to the picture. And also we have integrated with some of the industry top-notch integrated command control center platform, such as Schneider Aviva platform, right? Also, and other platforms also we are in implementation with, integration with. So in simply how it works, like it will help you to do your respective city surveillance and know the respective KPIs for that, and also your respective areas, spread map, heat map, all the such kind of things, and various different analytics around it, such as where your area or the city is moving towards in terms of this pandemic, and how you can take it. It will give you a good information for in terms of decision assistance system, right? So how it could move on. So this is a simple quick video about how it is happening integrated with the ICCC platform together. So these are the action-oriented things, such as how to create a workflow across the departments. You on your screen, you are able to see a lot of multiple departments added up and what they need to be doing, and how can a city command control center can collaboratively issue a collaborative workflow or the SOP. How the SOPs are turned into workflow, and then how the performance of SOPs are measured. The sample user story from the district authority office, because one of the cities where we are helping, they have not just only limited it to city, they have also given it to district authority to manage it end to end. And district authority such as the DC, the district collector office officials, as well as healthcare officials, law and order officials, a lot of people come and sit collaboratively. They're working as on today, like when I'm talking, and they have done a tremendous job in terms of monitoring and containing the spread of the disease. In fact, a simple use case out here, how situation awareness, trend analysis, operational excellence, such as operational workflow, even to grassroots level, such as ASHA workers or the municipal sanitary workers, how they can make use of technology through mobile apps or such kind of a thing. Any questions? If you have, please. I'm done. I think I have contained it well within timeline. I hope so. Thanks a lot for this opportunity again. And if anybody has a question, please feel free.
I think it was a very concise, very precise, and excellent presentation by Dr. Chinmay. We are grateful to you for having spent so much of time on bringing this wonderful presentation for the panelists as well as for the audience. It was very educative, and thanks for keeping it well within the time. I would request all the speakers to kindly confine their talks to 5-minute limit, and I would request Fahim to kindly give a small indication or a bell or something when we are running short of time. And with that, I would request Mr. Sujit Patheja, Director, Smart Cities and Urban Governance, SAP, to kindly share his views for the benefit of the panelists and for our elite audience. Thank you.
Sir, first of all, the session is till 11:30, so I think so we have got enough time for everyone to speak now.
Because, okay, that's great.
Because Hari Kumar sir, because Hari Kumar sir is stuck in CM's office. There's some meeting which has come up. He just now texted me, and Gaurang Rathi sir is also tied up. He's trying to come in, so he might join in a bit later. So we can, I think so. Like we have got Aditya sir, we have got Mushraf Ali sir, then we have got Raj Cherubal sir, Sujit, and I think so. We have got 45 minutes from here, so that
So,
it's good enough time.
Mr. Patheja, you can continue to speak as long as you want.
So I had only created 5 minute content, but nonetheless, I'll try and extend this. No problem. So thank you so much, Vikram sir, for giving us this opportunity. And Chinmay, the presentation that you shared, it was right on the point. I think that is one of the focus areas for me also to talk about. But before I get there, the topic that we have in hand is how do we make our cities effective and efficient. It's really important before we delve deeper into the effectiveness and efficiency of cities to understand what these two terms mean. uh, Effectiveness is about doing the right thing again and again, repeatedly, and efficiency is about doing them right. So what we have seen in over the last 5 years, of the smart city mission, how we have proceeded, I think we're doing the right thing. We are setting up the infrastructure. We are, whether it is surveillance cameras in the cities, or sensors for solid waste collection, or other host of other systems that are getting implemented in cities. We are doing the right thing, as we over the last 5 years, and the proof of that is how we have responded so well to the COVID situation. How cities have come up with unique use cases where they're tracking the movement of vehicles and people beyond a certain limit under lockdown. So that tells us that we have created the right infrastructure, and we're doing this thing. We're doing the right thing. Today, what I want to focus on is, are we doing this right? The efficiency part of it. And no, the way I see it, there are three impediments to being efficient in the way we are approaching this entire smart city, building our future cities. Uh, what are those three impediments? Number one is and these are not in any order of priority, but the first that I feel is the piecemeal approach that we have taken towards implementation of technology in the smart cities. When I say this, now imagine a scenario where I, as a citizen, if I am driving down a road and pothole, the road that I take is filled with potholes, or there is a leakage in a water pipeline somewhere on my way. What do I do today? I can take a picture from a city mobile app. Yes, that's possible. I send it across to the command center, where the operator is looking at it. He sees that, okay, this is an issue. He will create there is an SOP to it. He will create a action or an alarm with regards to that particular ticket or that particular event that I've taken. Now this goes to the respective field office, or a field person who goes there, checks it, probably comes back. Now some repair needs to be done. Uh, how does he create a work order for repair? Maybe manually, or he contacts over phone and does it. So today, what we have done is we have created this infrastructure where we have enabled our citizen to raise a complaint through his mobile phone, and the field officer to get that complaint and go and probably solve it. But imagine the same scenario where we are efficient. Same scenario. I'm driving down the road. I see a pothole filled road. I click a picture. I send it across. The command center solution picks the picks up the location of this picture through the geotag that is there in the picture. This information goes back to the asset management system, where the entire information about this road is already existing. It tells us who made this road, what was the material used, when was it made, what was the duration of when was the last maintenance of this road. So all this data is available. So automatically this data is fetched uh, just by the fact that somebody has clicked the picture and sent it across. Now, the field officer
Sorry
goes
to
there.
interrupt you, Sujit. Sorry to interrupt you,
Yes.
Sujit. Are you showing the slide deck or are you?
No, I'm just speaking, sir.
Okay.
I'm just speaking. I'm
Okay.
not showing a slide deck. Yeah. So now the field officer goes there, checks and validates this event. What does that happen? Once this is validated, automatically the asset management system creates a work order, a maintenance work order. Where does that information reside? Probably in the procurement function, where the contract, either for the maintenance contract, as part of the overall turnkey contract that the contractor has, or through a rate contract or a maintenance rate contract, which is, there's a short list of maintenance providers for the road or for the water pipeline. All of this information is available in systems, and all of this happens through minimal clicks. So that is what is being efficient means. And I think that is one area that we still need to work on when it comes to smart cities, making them more efficient by doing away with the piecemeal approach and bringing in an integrated approach to solving some of these problems. That's problem number one, or impediment number one. The second impediment, and which Chinmay talked about in detail, is the data. Uh, we have all heard, often repeated, data as the new data as an asset, data is the new oil. We have all heard these phrases, and we've all used these phrases. But when we look at smart cities, we have started doing analytics. Absolutely, we have dashboards. We have started looking at data which is available through these dashboards, and at least getting about what is happening in the city. But again, the question is, are we doing it right? Are we efficient? As any data practitioner would tell you, the bulk of work in any analytics goes towards data management. Are we doing data management and data governance in our cities? Unfortunately, no. We are looking at dashboards, we are looking at trend analysis, but we are not focusing on getting our data right. So there is a simple principle in analytics called GIGO: garbage in, garbage out. So if your data is not right, your analytics is also not right. It's very important to focus on the collecting the right data, maintaining the right data quality, and then running analytics on top of it. So that's the second impediment that I see towards becoming efficient. While we are probably effective, we are doing analysis, we are doing trend analysis, but if the only way to become efficient is also to do data management. The third point, or the third impediment to this is, and probably one of the really important points, is treating the citizens as customers. Now, I say this with a lot of conviction. Uh, we are all living in the millennium age. Every one of us, from 8-year-olds to 80-year-old, today uses a mobile app or a e-commerce site in one form or the other. We have all used Uber. We have all used Amazon. Look at the customer experience they offer. You buy something on Amazon, you don't like it, you give a feedback, you immediately get a refund or a replacement, or the seller would contact you and try and understand what is the problem that you had with the delivery of the product. Similarly, on Uber, you don't like a trip, they will immediately refund your money. Can we bring that kind of culture in the way we treat our citizens? The moment we do this, the moment we start doing this, we will start focusing on two things. One is citizen experience. Uh, Today, if I go on a municipal corporation website or a smart city website, and I want to apply for a birth certificate for my son, it's probably a tedious project in itself. Or if I want to file my property tax return, it's a tedious project in itself for me. Can we make it more friendly? Can we make it omni-channel where I can do this on my mobile, I can do this on my laptop or my tab without really feeling the difference, uh, you know, of where I am doing it. So that's essentially all being omni-channel. So citizen experience, increasing or improving citizen experience is one part of when you start looking at citizens as customers, is what you will work towards. The second important aspect is citizen feedback. I think when the smart city mission started, citizen feedback was considered as one of the key elements towards designing the smart city plan. But when we look at today, the implementation part of it, unfortunately, we have not taken feedback from our citizens as to are the projects that are getting implemented in line with their expectation? Are they really feeling the difference between what we were 5 years ago to what we are today? So it's very, very important to have this citizen feedback incorporated into our daily lives as municipal corporations. Let me take an example of this. Let's say if I visit a website, or a citizen visits a municipal corporation website, uh, and after 3 clicks, he decides to close this down. He decides not to do any transaction. Can we incorporate a feedback mechanism there and then and ask that why did he feel the need to close down this website and not do a transaction? Is it because of unavailability of information? Is it because of uh, you know uh, too, the uh, the layout being too complex? So can we improve based on that feedback? So that's the third point, where when you start treating citizens as customers, you start valuing their feedback, you start valuing their experience, and you create an environment where citizens feel free to give that feedback as part of their everyday process, everyday interactions, and are part of the overall growth that we are looking at as a city. Some of the experiences that I have seen globally, a lot of city councils publish their budget for review by the citizens. Do they feel that the tax money is being spent in the right areas? We are probably a little away from that, but yes, that is something that we should look to do. We should be more inclusive. So those are the three broad points that I feel are are the bridge that will take us
Sujit,
from being effective to efficient. Yeah,
Sujit, I think so. You need to end now
yeah,
by.
I'm done. No, I'm done. I'm concluding. So I just wanted to say that these are the three broad points that I feel are the bridge from being effective, or the effective moving from effectiveness to efficiency in our cities. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sujit. I think Fahim only had given you a free hand and liberty to exceed the time limit, and now I think he got the response from other panelists. But it was really wonderful. I fully agree with you that having technology at hand, collecting a lot of data, but the fact remains that unless this data is really analyzed, it is not only collected, it has to be collected, it has to be collated, it has to be sifted, and then finally it has to be disseminated. And there should be a system that the data which we have collected is being put to right use. And definitely, as officials sitting on these important posts, we are definitely accountable to the general public at large, because after all, it's a taxpayers' money. So you have definitely brought out very valid points, and I think it must be a big consolation to our viewers that we are sensitive towards this concerns that they have and the expectations they have from the government officials, and carrying it on forward. I believe Mr. Rathi has joined. Has Rathi joined? Otherwise, I think we can request Mr. Faruqi, District
Yes, so we can.
Collector, yeah, to kindly share his views and let us know as to what all activities have been taken in Telangana. Mr. Faruqi, welcome.
Good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to join Enlightened team. And good morning, one and all. I see Aditya, my batchmate here, seeing him after a long time. and it's wonderful to be amongst you all. So, sir, it is an enlightening presentation.
May echoing coming in your mic, and I think it's. I hope everybody agrees that there is a little disturbance. Maybe the placement of the mic, or
There is a little bit of echo.
Is it okay now?
yeah, now it's better. I think.
Yes.
Better. But
Yeah. So, good afternoon, good morning, one and all. Taking away from the presentations given by Dr. Chinmay and Dr. Sujit, it was really true, and you were exactly to the point, and you have rightly highlighted the points that administration, particularly in local bodies and district administration, would love to focus on. But there are slight limitations that we have vis-a-vis what the solutions people from the outside would like the government to implement, and which we would love to have. But there are certain limitations, and based on that, we in the government would like to take things forward. So broadly coming to using information and communication technology in improving the efficiency and effectiveness of public service delivery at urban level or government level. So I would understand that for a urban local body, there are about 5 priorities in terms of service delivery. So the primary thing for any ULB remains sanitation, and then public health, then building and maintaining urban infrastructure, then traffic management, and last but not the least, disaster management. So broadly, I would categorize the services given by local bodies into these 5 categories, and using of information and communication technology for efficient delivery of these services has played a great role. So before joining my present charge of collector, I was the additional collector of Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation, heading the IT and communication technology division. So what we have done in Hyderabad is that all of these things are using technology to the extent possible. I wouldn't say this is complete, but to the extent possible, where we can deliver service to a particular quality, we have implemented most of the points raised by the two gentlemen, or based on the public expectation. Now, coming to sanitation, the simple thing is Hyderabad as a city has around 22,000 sweepers, and it uses around over 150 sweeping machines and other machines. And Hyderabad, having an area of around 625 square kilometers, with a population of over 1.3 crore, has 11 transfer stations. So all of this is monitored on a daily basis, and we collect about 7 to 8,000 metric tons of garbage every day, and then we process it on a daily basis. So this supply chain system uses a lot of technology in itself, and right from the door-to-door collection, or to say the final treatment of garbage, we use technology in terms of biometric attendance systems, vehicle tracking system, and the treatment facility. So, as you rightly said, we are not integrated in all of these aspects, but to the extent possible, we are using technology at all of these levels. But yes, as you rightly said, this is yet to be integrated in a proper fashion. Now, coming to urban infrastructure, roads and maintenance of roads, flyovers, their construction, street lights, everything is online. It is monitored from a central command control room. Switching on and off of around 4.5 lakh street lights every day in the city is done centralized, and wherever something goes wrong, we attend to the same within half an hour. Ideally, it would have been 5 minutes. We have put in a lot of systems, but yes, we have to improve in terms of the overall efficiency. And coming to urban infrastructure, Telangana has taken up a massive urban housing scheme of constructing 1 lakh 2 BHK houses for the urban poor. I'm happy to inform you that through regular ICT-based dashboards, we were monitoring all of these projects at around 20 different locations, and some of the projects are in the final stages, and around 20,000 will be occupied this year if everything goes right and the COVID lockdown allows us to do so. And Telangana, the Hyderabad's Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation's mobile app has around 10 lakh users, which makes it one of the highest in the country. And as was mentioned earlier, we follow a grievance module on this. And every grievance, after it is addressed by a concerned official, goes to a call center, which is outsourced to GVK. Now, GVK calls every petitioner and confirms from them if they are satisfied with the service. If they are not satisfied with the service, then it reopens in the background, and the concerned officer is informed, and the officer senior to him is also informed. So by doing this, we attend to about 1 to 1.5 lakh grievances every month, depending on the season, and to the extent possible, we are able to satisfy around 60% of the population. Ideally, it would be 90%, but as we know, every local body in the country has a lot of limitations in terms of interconnected issues, in terms of budgets and other limitations. But it's a positive thing that we feel, and a ULB of the size of Hyderabad, if 60 to 70% is this satisfaction rate, I think we are in a good direction, and definitely it will take some more time, but we'll try to reach 90 to 95% public satisfaction. Then moving on to traffic management using technology. Traffic, we work along with the Hyderabad City Traffic Police, and traffic management in the city on a daily basis is a big task for the local body and the police. So all the signals are Hyderabad has one of its first project of introducing H-trims, traffic real-time management system. So using this technology, we have connected signals in a particular manner that the timings are adjusted so that the movement of traffic is taken care of. Now, it is normally observed in a lot of cities that the traffic flow is mostly unidirectional from areas which have mostly residential to the mostly official areas in the morning, and the otherwise in the evening. So this H-trim system takes care, and at some points at around 10 to 11 locations, we have also given live updates so that traffic gets diverted. And in any advanced country, we would see this happening at a major scale, but any objection? Yeah, but I think again it's in the right direction, and nevertheless I do agree on integrating all of these things. And then coming to the last point that I would like to mention regarding disaster management. Hyderabad has a specialized disaster management urban team that was started in the city about a year and a half ago, and this disaster management team operates from a centralized control command center, and they have a response time of less than 10 minutes. We have around 20 vehicles positioned with basic amenities and trained personnel positioned in 3 shifts at different points. And as and when a grievance or any minor disaster kicks in, the centralized command control room gets the information, and based on GPS tracking, they appoint this task to a locally placed team, and that team immediately attends to the grievances. And using this disaster management force, DRF as we call, we are able to attend any small to major disaster, including fire accidents, small issues like water stagnation or tree fall, or anything that comes in. So there is a list of around 130 the emergency sort of complaints that we can get, and as soon as we get this information, we ensure that the same is attended within 10 minutes. And taking a step further, the government of Telangana is trying to work towards a single number, dial 100, which is normally used by police. Now, the Hyderabad Municipal Corporation is getting merged with the same. So we also get complaints from the police through a centralized Hyderabad administrative control system. And depending on that, we are able to give better quality of services in the last 2 years. And there has been tremendous improvement in public satisfaction. And I'm sure as these things go further, we also have learnings from our we also have learnings, and we will definitely improve and ensure that we deliver more and more quality services with greater public satisfaction. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Farooqi Saab. It was really a wonderful presentation, and we are really proud of the excellent work which has been done by you in Telangana, and I think it's a very good thing for others to emulate. And I'm sure your talk must have given a lot of moral boost and lot of this thing to the general viewers, that our officials are really doing a wonderful job across the country, and perhaps it's because of this that we have been able to withstand this onslaught of an international pandemic, and we are really proud of you. And I'm sure the whole country and the viewers would also be proud of the details that you have given about the advancements which have been made in making it a nice smart city. May I now request Aditya Singh ji from Bhopal to kindly enlighten our panelists as well as our esteemed viewers on what all is being done in Bhopal, because Bhopal has been doing extremely well. I've been seeing in other seminars also that a lot of advancements have been made. Let's hear you now. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Aditya Singh. I've recently joined as CEO Smart City Bhopal, and we will be giving a brief of the implication and application of ICT projects in our Smart City project. Can we go to the presentation, please? Okay. Next, please. So this is an overview of the entire project that we had. We had the modeling of redevelopment in our Bhopal Smart City PSCDCL. The major motive was to check on the urban sprawl and including the IoT citizen-centric innovations for the pan-city interventions. The total cost of the project was estimated around, in the SCP, was around 3,400 CR, and in which we have majorly focused upon the area-based development for the infrastructure development, and for the PAN city we had the solution-based interventions for 875 crores. Next. For ICT projects, we have divided them into PAN city projects and ABD project. ABD is one of the most important locations of Bhopal, where in TT Nagar we have applied for the application of ICT in water supply system and through the help of SCADA, smart pole and LED street lighting, wherein in smart pole we are also providing Wi-Fi, advertisement and everything, and sewerage system and electricity distribution and supply management. In PAN city, we have a plethora of things here. Majorly, we are having a ICCC, that is a lighthouse project for the entire Madhya Pradesh, and I will say for the entire country as well. ITMS, where through we are doing traffic management system through our ICT application. Incubation center, through which we are doing hand-holding the entire startup system. Bhopal Plus is an app wherein we have an integrated application for one city, one application. Smart School, through which we are doing online assessment and everything for the 6th to 12th class for all the schools that we have selected. PBS is for the environment thing, and we are having a public bike sharing system wherein we are promoting the control of the carbon credits as well, and we are also promoting the environment healthy procedures here. Next. Okay, so these are the major verticals wherein we have divided our application of the ICT. So we have touched all the aspects of the entire community and the governance system. Wherein environment, we are having economy for the entrepreneurship and innovation through our incubation center, through our smart poles and everything. For environment, we are doing PBS also. Our smart pole also have the monitoring system for pollution degree and everything. In energy management, we are doing through the I think the solar application that we are doing. For the government, we have ICT and e-governance that we are doing through our applications. Transparent data and governance system we are doing. Infrastructure wise, we are having smart road wherein we are having separate lane for our cyclist also, and the utility duct that we are having in every road that we are providing. For mobility, we have a public transport system and ICT infrastructure for in the way that we are having a cross section with the nodal point at the I think with the metro also, and with the cycling and all the kind of other kind of transport system is here. And smart people is through education system, and social cultural creativity is through our education program that we are having through smart schools, and social and cultural activity through our Bhopal and OnePlus application that we have. Next. This is a basic review of the entire ICCC command and control center that we have. We have integrated 14 city level and 7 state level services. Basically, we are focusing on sensor and API based integrations. So in the city level, if you see, we have done the things that we have integrated is through the things that we are having a local demand. So solid waste management, because Bhopal is one of the cleanest city in the country. So we have integrated this thing to our ICCC thing. City transport and public bicycle sharing, PBS, we have shared here. Through Bhopal bus and link, I think BCLL, we have integrated it here. So we know the time and place of a bus that is arriving here. And PBS is the place, is the system that where we know the kind of dogs that we have here. And if there is availability of bicycle and from where to where you can take it. Smart pole, it will come later also. Smart pole has a lot of features which we'll be sharing later. ITMS to control the entire traffic system of the Bhopal city. We have 30 junctions here, from which we also have this kind of RLVD, number plate recognition and all kind of things. We generate challan automatically from here. Underground dustbins were the places where we have institutionalized system of waste management. And if they are filled up and everything, we have a control system through our ICCC where we know which underground bin to be focused here. Road sweeping machine is innovation here, where we have taken 3 machines through which we clean 200 kilometers of road daily in Bhopal. State level services, depending upon the priority of the schemes that we are having. 108 is a health service, in where whenever an ambulance is required, we know where to send them, and we can track them also through our system. E-Nagar Palika, it's a very exhaustive system wherein we have property tax, water tax, CRM and project systems, wherein we know what are the priorities of Nagar Palika, and we can monitor those aspects from our and those verticals from our system through here. CM Helpline is a grievance redressal system, wherein through our ICCC application, we know what kind of problems and what kind of solutions we require in the city. Next. This is an overview of the SWM integration that we have done. So in Bhopal, we have a different zone for the total application of the SWM scheme that we have here. So we have all the zones mapped in our system. We have all the manpower included in that zone that we have in the system, and all the mechanical resources that we have, like all the vehicles that we have, all the transfer stations that we have, all the weightage and weighing bridge that we have here. So we know from which zone which vehicle is leaving at what time and to which transfer station it has to reach. So we have an application that tells us which vehicle is reaching late on time. Solid and solid liquid waste management, we have divided in two parts. We have wet waste management system and solid waste management system. So we know the dry waste, how much dry waste is coming and how much wet waste is coming. So the basic ratio should be 70 to 30. We have an application wherein we know in which part of the city, in which zone of the city we have a application through which we are having ample amount of wet and dry waste collection. And if some zones don't show that kind of proximity to us and that kind of collection ratio to us, we have an alert and then we are focusing on that thing. Other than this thing, we are also having a citizen feedback and ranking of zones just to have this thing for the Swachhata Sarvekshan that we have annually every year. So this is a proper system that we have here through which we know which zone we have to focus on what expect. So HR management, mechanical management, and all the total, I will say, inculcating every aspect of the system of SWM. This system tells us where to focus on what point. So SWM integration with ICCC has been a very successful part of the Smart City project here. And because of that, I think Bhopal has been on the top ranks of the cleanest city in the country. Next. This is ITMS for our traffic management. Since Bhopal has always had a horizontal expansion model, we never had a traffic management system in the city. After the application of a smart city, we had this ITMS project, which has been very successful here. These are the major features wherein we have a red light violation system, overspeeding. Even if you're not wearing a helmet, we can detect that. We always have a statistics of areas wherein we have our systems installed in 30 junctions, which kind of violation is done in which part of the junction. And each challan is the system that we have, that you will always have this kind of challans delivered to you through WhatsApp and through mails and door delivery if you have done any kind of violation. So basically we are focusing on these three aspects of red light violation, overspeeding and helmet. And through this we are able to manage the entire traffic system of the 30 junctions that we have installed, the RLBD system and ITMS system. Next. These are the basic details of this system that we have installed, wherein we also have a public address system. If you are not crossing, if you are in white line violation of the zebra crossing, also we can tell them ki kindly move your vehicle backwards, and they do that also. So traffic surveillance cameras are there, ANPR system has been installed, RLBD is there, speed violation detection, as I already told you, is there. And it was India's first of its kind analytics in Bhopal that we had done. And as of now, we have generated challans worth 8 crore rupees through this kind of system. And we have detected all the kind of violations that are possible in a particular junction in our installation system. Next. Smart pole, as I told earlier that we will have a detailed discussion, we had a project to install 150 smart poles. These are the basic components of the entire project, where we were focusing on LED lights, Wi-Fi hotspot, signage system, EV charging, optical fiber cable, wherein we have provided out of 200 kilometers, we have done 187 kilometers in the entire city. From where you have to get a door-to-door delivery of the OFC also, we can provide that. Environmental sensors, we can always tell in which area there is a pollution analysis. We can do that through our smart pole system. And O&M, through our RFP that we have floated and the agreement that we had, it's for 15 years, wherein we will have a 48 crore of revenue also. An energy saving fee to be paid by VSDSCL on a contact per month basis. Will be doing that. On this thing, we are also having a revenue generation model where our consultants are also working how we can generate a revenue generation model where we can have a system for 15 years where we don't need to pay anything to them. and we are going to earn much more revenue from what we are going to pay to them. So we'll be updating upon this thing on the next presentation whenever we'll be having that thing. So basically now we are focusing on 100% provision of the LED lights. We still have kind of bandwidth for 300 to 400 lights here. And Wi-Fi, we are trying to optimize it on the marketing level. Thanks. Smart classes that I've always told you, smart school, these are the components and impact that we have done here. The basic strategy is to have the entire education and all the, I will say, syllabus of class 6 to 12 to be, I will say, in the ICT system. And we also have a school surveillance, digital library, and science laboratory also that will be implicating through this system. The impact that we have is we have selected 10 schools. I think we are not mentioning this in the slide, but we are focusing on 10 schools through which we are having 108 classes that will be having impact on this.
8 classes.
Yeah. And Bhopal is also the nodal smart city for two other cities, Satna and Sagar. So we are implicating it through here only, and the work is in progress. And as soon as it is completed, we also have a centralized studio also for this thing, from where we can have a class system, from where these 3 cities can have a class all together for one topic for the entire this kind of schools that we have. Okay, next. Public bike sharing was one of the milestone projects that we had. We had a system wherein we had 5-meter wide, 12-kilometer long integrated BRT corridor system for PBS, wherein we had 500 cycles for 100 stations that we had projected for this entire system to work in. The revenue sharing model was totally on capex and opex basis, wherein we had provided VGF funding for them so as to get the system operationalized. We will have a kind of change in the entire system in the coming future, but as of now we had like 85,000 people who have been registered on the entire system, and around 10,000 people are active users here. The recent need of change that we are getting through public feedbacks have been considered right now, and we will be remodeling the entire system right now. But the basic aim was to decrease our dependency on the fuel and increase our use of the cycle system and everything. So this dedicated corridors for cycle system has been very successful in Bhopal, and this is one of our lighthouse project that we are doing. And in the near future, whenever we will have the next discussion, we will be remodeling the entire project and will let you know what we are focusing upon. As of now, we are having a proper mechanized system where we get the feedback from the users also, and we are having a monitoring system through our ICCC only, where we can see which dock is having what number of cycles that are being used here. So this is one of the systems that has been integrated to ICCC as well.
Yes.
Okay, next. These are some statistical report that we get on a daily basis. So as of today, the average rides per day, we can monitor it. Registered user, as I told you, is 85,000 people. Total rides also we can see, an emission offset that we are monitoring through the application of this system, how much emission offset we had, and it is always increasing here, as you can see.
Commandant Shekhawat.
Okay, Bhopal Plus application is an integrated application for the entire city, where the major components are on the collaboration and public dashboard. We are also providing G2C and B2C services here. Emergency services are also been integrated here. A grievance redressal is also a part of this entire project. Current available services, you can see on the side of the slide that we have all these kind of services that has been integrated here. We have also integrated the kind of startups that we have through our incubation centers. If they are willing to provide services to this system, we also have provided this thing. To Kabadi Wala service that has been mentioned here is a startup of Bhopal city, which we provide the services through this application. Mayor Express is a part of this application wherein we have joined the local vendors here, wherein they want to provide their services during COVID time. The kind of services that was required here because of the lockdown, they were not available at the freehand basis. So we had a interface wherein the service provider and the service user can have an interface. They can demand its system there. So we have Mayor Express where we have provided like 60 lakh rupees of services that we have provided in the time of the lockdown also, and 3% of the revenue sharing model is there. So we are providing it to.
Aditya, I think we have other speakers waiting, and now we are really running short of time.
I
I'm
think we're
quite
at the end of
impressed. I'm impressed with your this thing, but we'll have a little move fast, so cut it short. Yeah.
okay, no issue. This is a startup project that we have implemented in 175 overhead tanks and 12 pumping stations. It's basically a one system where we can monitor our entire PHE system. Next, multi-level parking. It's a basic, simple concept where we are providing parking in the most congested areas. Next, road sweeping machine. It's three machines that we have hired for 6 years O&M project. Next, a transfer station I've already told you about. These are the stations that we have integrated with our ICCC management, where we have 6 transfer stations. They mentioned it 7 here. 6 transfer stations have been integrated with our ICCC, and we are doing entire O&M and capex and opex costing through our project here. Next, underground dustbins I've already told you about. Next. This is one of the greenfield projects of Bhopal Smart City, where we are doing for green energy. We have a biomethanization plant. The major vision of this thing was that we had a mandi here where we used to collect a lot of waste. We used to collect the waste and we used to generate the energy through the waste that we have collected. And now we are supplying free power supply to the entire mandi there. And they have used to lit candle before, and now they have an entire LED based illumination there. Next. Solar energy product we have implemented in 3 places. I'll be giving the details later on. Where it's energy saving model that we had here. Next, incubation center is for the startups, where we have 34 startups that have already been incubated. We had a lot of mentorship sessions and employment opportunities. On 31st July, we are also having a investor summit, also a virtual investment summit for this kind of project. Next. Thank you, and I'm very sorry for taking a longer time. The kind of project were kind of vast, so thank you.
No, no. I must say that wonderful job done by Bhopal Smart Cities, and really, it was very, very great achievement. Whatever you have shown, I think it's a good thing which others can emulate. And Bhopal is definitely a lovely city, and we are looking forward to really seeing it as a role model for others. And I think Mr. Rathi has joined from Varanasi, and the
Yes, sir,
constituency of
exactly.
our
Exactly.
honorable Prime Minister. I'm sure they must have done
Sir,
wonderful job. I now request him to throw some
Yes, sir.
light.
sir,
Yes, sir.
sir,
Yeah, I think Fahim, you want to say.
sir, so yeah, so basically, I was like, I was there, I was like
Yes,
in
sir.
Varanasi since last 4 months, since the
Yes, sir.
lockdown started, and Rathi ji
Yes,
knows
sir.
it very well. So actually, it's like I would like to really, it's like commend the way, it's like the way he has handled, he and his team
Sure,
has
sir.
handled the overall pandemic situation in Varanasi, right? With the
Wonderful,
kind
sir.
of,
Sure, sir.
it's like
Wonderful, sir.
the
Sure.
kind of apps, with the kind of social media interactions and
Sure,
everything.
sir.
I think so. Rathi ji
Sure,
can
sir.
explain it much better. But I've
मैं
seen it myself
Wonderful,
there,
sir.
like
Wonderful,
मैं
sir.
मैं
since
मैं
4 months.
मैं
I've
मैं
been
भी मैं ये भी कहना
Sure.
चाहूंगा कि राठी जी की मेहनत तो
Sure.
रंग लाई होगी, लेकिन बाबा विश्वनाथ का भी इनके ऊपर
Wonderful,
बहुत
sir.
बड़ी अनुकंपा है, क्योंकि वहां तो कन कन
Wonderful,
में
sir.
शिव शंकर हैं, तो वहां तो कोविड कोई नुकसान कर ही नहीं सकता है। और इसके साथ ही मैं राठी जी से अनुरोध करूंगा कि
Sure, sir.
कृपया वाराणसी के बारे में अपना
Sure.
दृष्टिकोण हमें बताएं। धन्यवाद।
Wonderful, sir. Sir, sir. Sir. Mutations, bill collection. Yes, sir. Water connection. Yes, sir. Sir, sir.
I think so. Third disconnect हो गए. She's logging in, trying to log in
Wonderful.
back.
Sir, sir. Yeah, sir. Sir, sir. Okay, sir. 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 Sir, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, sir. Sir. Wonderful, sir. Wonderful, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Exactly, sir. Exactly, sir.
Connect there. Uh,
Exactly, sir.
uh,
Exactly, sir. Sir, sir.
so, so a very good
Sir,
evening. Good evening. Very good morning. Actually, good morning, sir. Thank you for this lovely introduction. And as you said, we do have the blessings of the Lord uh, uh, as far as whatever project we are executing and anything that we do so as to improve the service delivery here in Varanasi. So if the moderator is fine, should I just take 5 minutes and try to present what we are doing here and how we perceive it as a system integrator, the use of ICT? Am I audible?
Yeah, you are very
Fahim?
clear. You're loud and
Sorry.
clear. You're loud and
Right.
clear.
Perfect. So, without much ado, in fact, I won't even want to go into much details as to what all ICT projects we are executing here in Smart City. I would just want to present uh, how our agenda has been laid out in the sense that what role ICT is playing in envisaging a city as a smart city and how does it pan out in future. Given my experience for last 8 odd months as Municipal Commissioner Varanasi and CEO Varanasi Smart City Limited, I was just trying to visualize as to what exactly uh, ICT is doing for us in terms of ease of delivery of services, in terms of easing my job, in terms of easing the job of my team who are
AC
a part of
Ministry.
municipal corporation and smart city. So I think uh, we can envisage various deliveries, various services as small balls there in the ecology. Let's say there is a room and there are different small balls. This room is, say, Varanasi. And now these small balls are various deliveries that we ought to deliver to citizens, whether it be waste management, both solid and liquid, whether it be delivery of safe drinking water, whether it be provision of good roads, whether it be any other amenity that is associated with the civic amenities. There are hundreds of them that can be laid out. So these are all small balls in which I think ICT has already played a tremendous role without us knowing or unknowingly in not only integrating these balls together, providing a framework, but also protecting these individual deliveries from shattering, from disintegrating, and not being provisioned the way a citizen needs it to be provisioned. I'll give a small example. For example, solid waste management. Now, solid waste management as a package has various constituents. It includes manpower, which is there at various stages from collecting waste to processing waste. There is another set of manpower that is up there that is monitoring this work, and there are people who expect a certain delivery by a certain time across the whole life. Now, all these stakeholders have been integrated seamlessly by ICT through various digital the way we have been able to use ICT to the sense that we have been able to improve the service delivery. How? Uh, for someone who is monitoring up there, for them, we have an attendance system through which we get to know that morning 7:30 beat starts. All 10 of the people are there on a particular beat. So there are like around 4,300 uh, 4,300 safari which we have, and around 600 drivers that we have. So 2,000 plus employed members of different capacity. So we get to know that they are on the work, they are on the job. We get to through by through biometric system in the morning, and also there is added technique of face recognition. This is repeated every 3 hours. So this way we are ensuring that the manpower is there to do it. Then you have bins which have QR coded volume, which are QR coded, and they have volume sensors. So by that we get to know by which time and to what level are these bins being getting filled, and also by what time they are getting empty. So we get to know the drivers, they are going on time or not, which bin is not being emptied. So this all analytics is thrown back to us, and we get a sense as to how solid waste is being managed. Also, the GPS tracking of vehicles as well. We know that the moment is there. There is no leakage in terms of coolant not happening and diesel and fuel filled. So it also covers for the pilferage and leakage of money that happens hitherto used to happen. And also we are getting an assorted picture and different analytics the way we want it to be thrown. Say we have different, we have graph coming from particular wall, so we zoom in to the picture there, and we understand as to where the gap is. So most of our countries might be missing, so the bin associated to their particular bead might not be getting emptied or might not be getting filled at all. So this can be done by a couple of clicks. So this way, as a seamless service delivery mechanism, we have been deploying ICT, and so have been several others. So, and similarly, we have SCADA systems, we have ITMS, as my colleague Aditya pointed out in case of Bhopal. So all these tools of ICT, which are a part of bigger family of ICT or umbrella ICT that we may call it, they have been seamlessly integrating our systems, helping us effectively deliver it. And the more it is done, the lesser it is. In fact, only yesterday we signed an MOU with a Ahmedabad-based company, wherein all the field monitoring mechanism would be onboarded on an app, and also the citizen side of it, the grievance redressal side of it, would be onboarded on an app. So we're doing one umbrella app by the name of Smart City, which would have an officer module and citizen module. So anyone
Gaurang, can I request you
is
to
to
speak
know
up?
anything about Varanasi. Yeah, of course, I didn't go about the projects. I was just trying to bring it together as we see. So my limited point is that smart city, as a as one assorted tray, has brought in the tools of ICT for us. Yes, but also I think municipal corporation in their in every delivery that they lay out, and also the enforcements that they lay out, there is a huge scope of ICT to play a very important role. And I must say that we have had very positive results in terms of project management, given that Varanasi has around 7 to 8,000 of crore of projects at any time, cumulatively around 30,000 crore of projects in last couple of years. So even for the project management part, it goes without saying that it does play a very important role. So to sum it up, yes, I totally vouch for the role of ICT. How the administrators and the people involved need to find in these spaces wherein it delivers for each and every system and delivery that is out there to be delivered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was really wonderful to hear about the strides made in Varanasi, Gaurang, and I'm sure you will continue to make the country proud, because that's one of the most important places, which has a huge visitor high profile. So I'm sure the things are being seen on the ground, as Faim was also saying, and I've also been witness to it. We wish you all the best. And what happens when we are there for a live seminar, people are sitting in the hall and they can't leave. But here, if we jump over the time limit, they can easily switch off their video and say that the net was not working and net stopped working, so they can easily leave. And I'm sure a lot of panelists, eminent panelists,
I can totally
are
relate to it,
waiting. Yeah. So I would now quickly request
sir.
Mr. Raj. Mr. Raj, are you online? Yeah.
Hi.
Thank you so much. Welcome. And I would like you to keep us as short and as sweet as
Sure,
possible. Yeah.
sure.
Thank you.
I'll just do this very quickly because the earlier speakers and the presentations were very useful, and I think it clearly shows that these kinds of gatherings clearly we learn from each other, because listening to Telangana, listening to Bhopal and others, and the two presentations, it's very similar to what we are doing here, so I don't have to repeat them. And clearly I can see that there is a lot of opportunity to learn. I'll just quickly say that we are implementing a massive bunch of projects. One is, of course, a parking management project. See, the whole traffic and transport without carrot and stick, carrot being the buses and nice things, But without the stick, which involves parking management and so on, many of the projects don't succeed. So, for example, even a simple footpath project fails because we build footpath and then somebody comes and happily parks on it, and the public gets very angry saying you're wasting taxpayers' money and people can't walk and so on. So I think, like other countries, we need to start thinking building blocks, and it's beautiful to see various building blocks fall in place. But we should all admit that Indian cities are in pretty bad shape. I don't think anybody will disagree compared to even an average city outside. We are in pretty bad shape because they have thought through in a systematic, a larger picture, and then they have each of the pieces planned as part of the bigger plan and so on. But thanks to Smart City, I think a lot of those bigger and smaller plans are getting done. So parking management system, where we are using analytics, camera-based, analytics and so on to do typically like your Ola, Uber. You can the app will tell you where the parking is available. You park in the wrong place, you'll get caught. Somebody will come running and collect your fees. You can do digitally. It's hopefully one of the largest in the country, if not the world. Similarly, I think even I am surprised that we have a surprisingly popular cycle management, cycle public bike sharing system. Again, GPS enabled and so on. It's very popular, and we are now going to introduce e-bike, which takes only 30% of your energy because it's battery assisted. So in the COVID times, I think since even the Smart City mission is pushing very hard to go for alternate ways of transport, cycle sharing and cycle tracks and so on, this I think is going to be a huge building block for us. A lot of the projects are very similar to what Bhopal and Telangana and others spoke, so I won't repeat them. Smart classrooms and so on. Some other cutting edge things we are looking at, because of the success of some of our earlier projects, we are embarking on two massive projects. One is the intelligent traffic management system, which will have automation of signals and so on, and obviously enforcement, red light violation, number plate recognition and so on. It's going to be a massive project, and if done well, it can be pretty revolutionary. And there's the other piece in that system is, of course, the MTC, the bus pieces, where today what happens is that theoretically we talk about route rationalization, efficiency, but the systems don't have any capability to do all this. So I think the backbone doesn't exist, depot management and so on doesn't exist in our systems. So all this is going to be part of the project, and passenger, for example, should be able to figure out when is the next bus coming pretty accurately on the road. And thinking also in terms of COVID, we should be able to start figuring out what is the occupancy of the bus and so on, which is probably no big deal in a Singapore or a Paris. These are struggles for us in India. So that's one big one. And then we are embarking on a huge corporation school improvement project, so which is not just the physical look and feel of the building, but after all, if you spend money, you need to make sure that the children are actually coming out of the school much better than what they went in. The enrollment is going down in corporation schools. So how do we make corporation schools super attractive, not only in the look and feel of it, which is obviously very important. I wouldn't want to send my child to a shabby looking school, whether it's toilet, whether it's gardens, whether it's horticulture, education, and so on. But also in terms of trying to see, okay, what is the best way to teach children? And the technologies are just astounding. Again, analytics, artificial intelligence, trying to figure out which child is faster in some subject, where he or she is struggling. How do we help them without insulting them in public? The software is able to quietly help the child reinforce the foundation and so on. The technologies are absolutely amazing. And so the other cutting edge things which we will be looking, and because of COVID, we have put that in a back burner. So, for example, we are fixing eco-restoring around 210 water bodies, which is like almost a Guinness Book record. But then, of course, public, all of us are cynical people because we think, what's the point? It's all going to get destroyed anyway. So what's the point, right? So to answer and preempt, what we are seeing is, can we use drones? Can we use satellite technology to figure out, is there an encroachment in the water body? Is somebody throwing garbage and sewage into it? And instead of expecting human beings, engineer of a corporation who's already overworked to go and take pictures and water sample every day, can we use drones which can actually land on water, collect water sample, and give you almost real-time feedback on the quality of water? Then, for example, road quality. There are enough companies which is able to do gyrometer and other mechanism by which we don't have infinite money, obviously. So if a commissioner of a city has $100, and he or she has to decide which road do you fix to make the maximum impact for the public, positive impact. Today it's random. I mean, I'll tell you one thing, somebody else will tell you something else. But how do we use more data to do this? So I'll conclude here by saying we are living in fantastic time. The problem is, of course, the capacity of the system to absorb all this technology, and first of all, to understand what these technologies actually do, plus managing vendor expectation, public expectation, etc. Because a corporation of Chennai or a corporation of Hyderabad is not somebody going to buy piece by piece and assemble it in the backyard, right? We need more integrated systems. And once you get into the integration and look at the holistic picture, then you realize, okay, this product is only 50% okay, that product is 30% okay, and then there's a big fight between which product can do what is real on paper, what is on paper beautiful, what is actually working. So I think these are places where Smart City has made a huge difference, because now instead of replicating and failing here, we probably can go to Hyderabad and take a look at what they have done, which camera actually works, which doesn't work in Indian condition. Some people will say, "Sir, it rained yesterday, so camera doesn't work," or it is snowing here, so it doesn't work. So we don't have time, 50 years like Hyderabad, or Hong Kong and Singapore, to 50 years, 100 years to sit, relax and do research. We have hardly any time, very little limited money. So I think these kinds of setups, and of course, Smart City Mission has been pushing very hard to do knowledge exchange, people exchange, and so on. So last 3 years has been pretty exciting for a skeptical person when I started this job. I'm pretty excited about the future of our cities. But it's going to be a struggle. It's not going to be easy. And thank you so much for this opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Raj. It's really heartening to know the work that is being done there. Yes, I do agree that we may be a little behind, but now we have made very big leaps and our cities are really going up very well, because visit to Dubai or visit to Singapore 20-25 years back, or to US 25 years back, and now you don't feel much of a difference, and you don't feel ki, Mowgli has come out of the jungle and he's come into something which is very different. Earlier, 20-25 years when I went abroad, I used to have that kind of a feeling. But yes, I think a little sensitization of our general public, as you said, they would park here and there, or they would, that kind of a discipline, if we are able to infuse into our public, I think in terms of cities, the way you all young officers are working so hard and delivering so much to the public, the day is not far, I think, when our cities would also be competing with the cities across the globe. And now I would like to invite Mr. Hari Kumar, if he's listening to me. I mean, that is, Imphal is one city which is blessed to be a city.
Sir, Hari says, it's like there's a meeting which has come up in the CM office, so he's there. So he's unable to join. So yes, it's like said, it's like he has asked, he has mentioned that sorry for to all the panelists.
I would like to then end only with this, that in absence of Hari Kumar, I can say that Imphal is a blessed city, because it's blessed by the gods, and however hard all of you try, you can't have an air condition fitted across your cities. Imphal is the natural air conditioned city of the country and can be rightfully called the Switzerland of Northeast. So I'm sure I can tell you that Imphal is also making a lot of strides, and the panelists as well as the viewers who are listening, I can only assure that that is one city which you all must visit. It is a wonderful place to be in, and it's a jewel in the crown of our country, and has been given a lot of smartness by the gods and the natural beauty. Gentlemen, I would like this opportunity to thank all of you. It was really wonderful interacting with all of you, listening to all of you. It has been a very, very nice interactive session, and I'm sure our viewers also would have been benefited with it. Quickly, if any question by our viewers, is there a provision for this? I'm not aware on this new system.
So actually, viewers are like watching it in a separate link on a live streaming thing. So I don't think so. They're like they can. There's a this thing message.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Fine. At the end, I'd like to say that please share everybody's mobile number in the group, so that we all remain in touch and we can share with each other and can provide better interaction in the next seminar. Thank you very much. Have a great day and a great time ahead.
Yeah, sir. Thank you, Vikram Sehgal sir. You have moderated this session quite well, and with the kind of inputs from Mushraf sir, from Sujit, from Raj sir, from Dr. Chinmay, from Gaurang Radhi sir, and Aditya ji. So I think so the panel was quite interactive, and I think so it has it must have benefited to all our viewers who must be watching you all, who are watching you all in the live sessions. So I'd like to thank you all once again, and thank you for taking out time in such a crucial situation and being a part of such a wonderful session and making it such lively. Thank you all.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.